Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 72. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and today we're going to forge ahead in our brand new arc with an Ezuri Cookout Progress deck. Now hit our theme song! Hey, Ryan. We're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What's going down?
Whole ton is going down. It's our first episode in our brand new arc where we challenge wizards directly with a Who Wore It Better face-off.
Yeah, very good. And today, super spicy or super not spicy list?
I guess it kind of depends what you're into.
I suppose. We are going to do the spice rating that actually tells us. Turns out, yeah, it's good.
It's all right?
Yeah.
Do we pass the 50 test this week?
No, but we're close. And I have a couple options to bring us way up in spicy, cutting a tutor, or way down in spicy, but super more powerful.
All right. I think everybody likes all of those things.
Yeah, very much so.
We do, yeah. So we're doing a Ezuri Cloud Progress. Maybe before we delve too far into the episode and the arc.
Ooh, there's a delve card in this list.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We should maybe make mention that what we're doing here is we're taking pre-constructed Commander product decks, and we're CCOing them, but we're not going all balls to the wall, dual land, shock land, fetch land, best cards, super strong, high end, super budget, major competitive. We're trying to keep the lists as if you could buy them off the store shelf.
Yeah, okay. So when you think of a Commander product, and don't think of the 2018 ones, because this is not that, but you buy it for whatever, $30, $40, $50 now, $100 now, if you're buying like some of the older ones, you can expect to open the product and get $100 to $150 worth of cards, right? C17, we were talking, every deck was over $110 in value when you crack it open. So when we tweak this deck today and decks throughout this arc, they're going to be about 150. I think this one's like $169. And when you look at each individual card, you would be expected to run into maybe $10, $15 cards in here. Wizards has set that expectation for us to reprint cards of that value. So that's kind of the cap in what we added to the deck.
Correct. So we can't go total nutso cuckoo crazy insane, which might be tough for me, but I'm kind of attacking this as I'm going to buy this, I just want to play it with my friends, or I want to let somebody else try it out, so I'm going to throw in some stuff that I have around the house.
Yeah, it goes back to like that deck building 101 that we talked about in the intro to Who Wore It Better last week.
Right.
Just to give you an idea, and remember, Command Beacon came in the Ezuri Claw of Progress deck, so Command Beacon is actually the most expensive card in this deck at $22. Second most expensive card, Crater Hoof Behemoth, $21? $21. Two things. It's at the very top end of what we would expect Wizards to reprint in terms of dollars and cents, and it sure as hell could get printed in a Commander product. It's Commander staple and always is a welcome reprint, so it's in there as kind of the top end, I guess.
Sure.
Okay.
Kind of the draw. Now, before we get into the deck proper, should we do some shout-outs and social media coordinates? Okay, let's start with the social media coordinates we usually do. We are CCOPodcast on Twitter and tappedout.net. That's where you can see this week's list, not last week's list because there wasn't one, but we are going to have the list that we talked about last week up there eventually, and also the list that we're going to do throughout the rest of the arc. We are commandercookout@gmail.com. That's where you can send us love mail, hate mail, show suggestions, maybe lists you'd like to see us spruce up for the arc, but no nudes.
Or nudes, I'm just saying.
If you do want to send us pictures of some kind, I was actually thinking about this the other day, since it's a Who Wore It Better thing, if you have, like, cosplay pictures of you dressed as a Magic character and you think you look better than the art on the card, send it in.
Oh, Geoff actually kind of did that. Friend of the show, Geoff, sent us Kim Kardashian in a jumpsuit and the Penguin from Batman.
Which Penguin, Danny DeVito or Burgess Meredith?
I don't know.
The slimy one or the one on the purple top hat?
The slimy one.
Oh, Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was it Danny DeVito? That was Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It was nasty.
Yeah, it was gross.
I think Danny DeVito wore it better, though, because Kim Kardashian, everybody likes her butt. I don't like it.
Yeah. I agree with that. It looks stuffed to me.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah, moving right along. We are also Commander Cookout on iTunes, Google Play, Google Machine, Podomatic, YouTube, Patreon, edhrec.com or .com, Flipside Gaming, where you can use promo code CCOFU to get 10% off store-wide, and the official home of Commander Cookout Podcast, commandercookout.com.
Yeah. All new contest details are up on commandercookout.com. And Facebook, of course, that's where it kind of all goes down. And Twitter.
Shout out on Facebook and the uptake already of our contest, where we're giving away a C18 sealed product of your choice if you win. Again, all the details on Facebook. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how we have like an uptake of people from Medicine Hat. Have you noticed how many people from Medicine Hat have been sharing that contest? There's quite a few.
Really?
Yeah.
I seen all the people liking it and sharing it, but I didn't creep them. Creeper.
Well, sometimes I lurk you guys when you enter our contest.
Very excellent. Now you know his dirty secret.
There's like 3 things I know how to do on Facebook, and one of them is click on your name and see if you're an actual real person. Because I don't want to give anything away to a bot. I'm super paranoid about that. I don't want to like pick a bot as a winner.
If we picked a bot and asked them to get in contact with us, they wouldn't. Unless they're like a super smart robot like...
Some Skynet shit, Ryan.
Yeah, I was literally just opening my mouth to say the T-1000 from Terminator 2. Super smart. Bad if he bots us and follows and wins.
I wish I could play the Terminator song right now. We'd probably get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, whatever. You just imagine it, guys.
Okay, step back. T2 Judgment Day. Best Terminator?
Definitely.
I think so, right?
Oh, totally. Had the iconic theme song. It was like full of all those Arnie-isms. Like, remember on Tuesday we were talking about the best Arnie movie?
It made Arnie-isms. It wasn't full of them. It made what they were.
It created them. That and Commando.
Yes.
Were like the epitomes of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. There's the cheesy one in Commando, and then there's the actual cool one in Terminator 2.
Yeah, James Cameron did that one, hey?
That was excellent. He's
good.
Like
the king of sequels, right?
The Aliens he did too.
Aliens 2 he did too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aliens, which was Alien 2 he did as well.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. We
Jeez.
English good.
Talk good speaking.
Yeah, podcast. Shout-outs to CCO Nation in general for liking and sharing, like the Medicine Hat people, as you say, but also giving us feedback on last week's episode. We kind of did a on-the-fly build of your deck, dredgy stacks type thing. We're not going to get into it again because we've been talking stacks for about a month now. But shout out to everybody who wants to help build.
Yeah, I dig that. I really appreciate that, especially when I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. It's really nice to have all that kind of feedback and interaction with people. I dig it.
Yeah, super sweet.
Yeah. I should throw a shout-out, shameless plug. CCO Brando, if you have any suggestions for a green-black dredge stacks list.
Oh, yeah, and get after at CCO Brando and or at CCO Podcast to let us know what the best Terminator movie is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't say number 2, you're probably wrong.
I think you're obviously wrong.
Yeah. So should we talk about some magic stuff, or do we have or should we tell the game story, the gameplay story?
Oh, I'm face palming. My god.
This is both the best and worst magic story I think I've told in a long time.
Let me preface.
Okay.
Who is the worst Magic player? Brando for doing this, or the rest of the entire table for losing the game?
Okay. So, on Tuesday is our nightly get-together where we drink some beers and play Magic together. And I'm playing my Tana the Bloodsower deck, so whenever she hits you, you get Saprolings. And the deck is built around Morganda Petroglyphs, so it's all creatures that don't have abilities, because Morganda Petroglyphs makes them bigger. So it's all Saprolings that have no game.
First of all, that's terrible. Second of all, Tana the Bloodsower should be partnered with, like, Timna the Weaver, so you could play real stacks with green in it. Anyways,
so we're also plane chasing, and we spend lots of time on the Maelstrom. Now, the Maelstrom says when you start your turn and your upkeep, you flip over the top card of your library, and if it's a permanent, it goes to play. Can break games wide open.
Yeah.
Now, in this particular case, I also had an Oracle of Maldai in play, and like 4 land. So I'm just hoping for that 5th land so I can start playing stuff. And I've got a couple of elves and a couple of little things. Got this little wee board state. I'm sneaking Tana in. I'm eking out some value. I got a little army of Saprolings, so nobody wants to attack me because I can just chump all their stuff. And we're going turn after turn. And I'm sitting there, and to myself, I'm thinking, self, why is your board state not getting any bigger? This sucks. Like, all you're getting is saplings every turn. Why don't you play more stuff? And in my head, it's like, well, I'm not getting any land, so that's why I'm not playing the stuff in my hand. Meanwhile, my hand consists of that dinosaur that's green, 3. Whenever it takes damage, you get a sapling. I forget what it's called. It doesn't really matter what it's called.
I don't remember.
But I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, I can't even play this.
Because 5 mana.
Yeah, that's why I'm not playing this. So I just kind of maelstrom in like stuff every turn.
But not land.
But not land.
So why weren't you getting land when you were maelstroming and drawing your card and Oracle Muldying?
Because I wasn't drawing cards. I didn't draw a card for at least 6 turns.
Forgot to draw cards.
I forgot to draw cards. I maelstrommed in a thing, and then I flipped over my top card to see if it was a land, and then it wasn't, and I went, son of a bitch. And I just played my turn. Yeah. Yeah. So now you're all...
So you lost the game.
Nope. Nope. Sure did not. Definitely won. In convincing fashion, too.
You Beastmaster Ascensioned.
Yeah, you went off. You were playing your zombie combo deck. You went off. I used shout out to Night Soil.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen Night Soil, it's an enchantment for green, tap 1, remove 2 creatures from a graveyard and get a sapperling. It is
so you removed my graveyard from the game when I went to Balthor them all back into play with Grey Merchant.
Yep. So I crushed his graveyard to dust, and then stopped him, and then it came back around and
didn't draw a card. Said go. Jesse went to win. We were on a plane by that point that gave all my dudes Death Touch, so I Death Touched away his Rafika the Many. You had nothing, came back to me. Beastmaster Ascension. Jesse countered it. Crater Hoof Behemoth with like 19 sapperlings. Got there. You ended up having mana by then.
Yeah, I had some mana by then.
This was like a 3-hour game too.
Yep,
hey,
it was a long.
I couldn't win because of Night Soil. I could have won that game like 5 times. Every time I tried to do something, my creatures just got exiled.
It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
If you'd like,
3-hour games.
3-hour games and people playing super terribly.
If you like casting Morality Shift on your own library twice in the same game. Once to mill your whole to mill your whole deck into your graveyard, and then once again to switch your graveyard back into your library so you don't deck yourself. That's how long that game was. That's
a hell of a game. But that's just, I don't know, I thought that was super funny, where it goes to show you can play a shitty deck and you can make shitty plays and have shitty luck, but as long as you yourself have confidence in what you're doing and just act like you're supposed to be there, you can still win. The game outside the game.
And play Plane Chase. Because
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the Maelstrom is how you won that game.
Well, it didn't really help me, though. All that got me was the Night Soil, which, granted, did make me win.
Not lose, which
Yeah.
is not losing the same as winning.
Yes.
In this case, it is.
But I would have been drawing cards otherwise, and that would have been pretty good.
I suppose.
That's a thing.
Anyways.
Oh, so that's a night at the CCO table.
Terrible.
Oh, man. So
Swear to God, we're not that bad.
Before you turn us off, give us a chance to redeem ourselves. We're going to talk about a list. You want to talk about a list, Ryan?
List.
Ezuri,
Claw of Progress. Progress.
I say progress. Progress. I think you could say either. I think both are fine.
Ezuri the Pro. Give him a read.
All right. Ezuri Claw of Progress is a 3/3 elf warrior for 2 green-blue. Whenever a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you get an experience counter. I love experience counters. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control, where X is the number of experience counters you have.
So, 4 mana 3/3. When you cast a little dude, get an experience counter.
Yeah.
Okay, go to combat. Target creature gets +X equal to your experience counters.
Forever.
Yeah. So I guess that's the simple way to think about it. Your experience counters make your guy big. How many experience counters do you think? If you get him on turn 3 or 4, let's say he's on curve because you just land maybe ramp or mana dork. Maybe you play him on 3, on 4, like turn 4 and turn 5, you play 2 little guys on each turn, so you have 4 experience counters. Do you think that's all you get?
You'd probably get more than that.
Do you think that once you have 4 or 5 experience counters that he just dies? right? And then you don't cast them again until you go to alpha.
Depends on the meta, probably. Depends on the game you're in. But I would suggest you could probably get a lot more, especially in a deck like this.
I'm trying to get a feel, right? And I think it would behoove us to tell CCO Nation that we switched out a lot of the regular creatures that come with this deck and put in infect cards.
Yeah, because we're pieces of shit, aren't we?
Yeah. So, again, well, here's the thing. They fit the bill, right? They're all super cheap, except for Blightsteel, which I didn't include in the list, and Inkmoth Nexus, which I did include because it's like $15 or $17 or whatever. It still fits the bill for something that we could feasibly see in a precon because it's not like $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, 4 or 5 counters, you swing with a dude, you make him unblockable, or you give him one pump spell and it kills somebody, right?
Yeah.
So you give a guy +5/+5, Ezuri gives him +5/+5, you kill somebody, then does everybody else go like ruh-roh and kill Ezuri every time he hits the table, or wrath the board, or spot remove all your guys? Like, can this deck kill more than one person?
It can with some of the includes that I have on my little piece of paper here.
And my tutor target.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, okay, so maybe we'll start with some creatures.
Okay. Now we're going to bang through these pretty quick, but we'll stop and highlight some of the more unique or important ones.
Yeah, I think in terms of banging through them pretty quick, if we just highlight that they have 2 or less power and have infect, like, is that good enough?
Unless they have something else relevant. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Let's start off with a fairly large casting cost, bro, that still fits the bill. Bane of Progress.
It's funny, yeah. This was actually in the deck. This is an original. 6 mana, 2/2, enters the battlefield, destroy all artifacts and enchantments, put a +1 on him for each permanent destroyed this way. Doesn't have infect, was in the original list, super good card, kept it in.
Yeah, sweeps the artifacts and enchantments. He's very good. Blight Mamba.
1 power, infector for 2.
Blighted Agent.
So good. Probably the superstar of the deck. 1 power, infector for 2. Unblockable.
Blight Widow.
2 power, infector with reach.
Broodbirth Viper.
Broodbirth Viper, again, an original from the Ezuri list. It has Myriad, and it's a super good way to draw cards. Myriad is when it attacks, you put a copy into play, tapped and attacking for each opponent that it could attack. So you attack one player and you get like 2 others. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card.
Very good in a deck like this.
So yeah, you could draw like 2 or 3 cards or whatever, and you could have ways in the deck to give it infect.
Yeah. All right, how about Coiling Oracle?
Another original, 1 power. Another original, 1 power for 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and if it's a land, you put it into play.
Yeah. How about Cold-Eyed Selkie?
Another original, 1 power, Island Walk. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Draw that many cards. That's important.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you have a pump spell, you could hypothetically draw 5-6 cards off of one swing with this thing.
Instant speed pump spell, right? And with Ezuri in play, if he's got like 2 or 3 experience counters, it attacks and you give Ezuri experience or +1s to Cold-Eyed Selkie to draw like 4 or 5 cards. Yeah.
Very cool.
Or give it infect.
Yeah. How about a Core Prowler?
2 power infector. When it dies, proliferate?
Correct.
Okay, and proliferate is choose any type of counter on a permanent or player and add another one. So you could choose infect counters and experience counters with that one.
Very important long game card in EDH Infect. How about Corpse Cur?
2 power infector.
Craterhoof Behemoth.
Ooh. Green, 5, haste, 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. I think in this deck, a Craterhoof on curve would get you like +5 or 6.
That's nothing to shake a stick at in an infect list.
Yeah, like if all your infectors have 1 or 2 counters on them from getting pumped by Zur individually, and then you give them all +6/+6, and they had 2 power to start with, they're all swinging for roughly 10.
Nice.
2 +2 counters, +6. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. All right, moving off from Craterhoof Behemoth, we have Cyst Bearer.
2 power infector.
How about Elvish Visionary?
That was an original, 2 mana, enters battlefield, draw a card, 1/1.
How about Eternal Witness?
Original, 3 mana, 2 power, enters the battlefield, get a card back from your graveyard to your hand. One of 3 cards that have that ability.
Very important.
And I think it is important when you're trying to get back tutors or infectors, because you got to remember that with Ezuri out, you play a creature with 2 power, it acts as a little pump spell, right? Because you play a 2/2, get an experience counter, move to combat, that 1 extra experience counter with infect could be the difference, right?
Absolutely, it can be. How about Experiment 1?
Give that guy a read and read the reminder text, because I actually don't super remember. That was an original in the list from 2015.
It's a 1/1 for 1. Human Ooze. What the hell? It's got Evolve. Evolve is whenever a creature comes into play under your control and it has greater power or greater toughness than whatever the creature with Evolve is, it gets a +1/+1 counter.
So he gives himself +1s when things that are bigger than him enter the battlefield.
Exactly. And then you can take 2 +1/+1 counters off of him to regenerate him.
So he sticks around.
Yeah.
Neat.
He could probably be replaced with something else.
Pump spells.
Yeah.
Like at the end of going through the deck, there is, let's call them flex spots. Some creatures like Experiment 1 doesn't have infect, and one of the 2 tutors. Spice Formula allows for 1 tutor, no penalties. There's 2 in the deck. We could cut one of them. They're both worth about $10. So we could save some money by adding a giant growth.
How about Glistener Elf?
Ooh, yeah, baby. 1/1 infect for 1.
How about Ichor Clawmere?
Yeah, baby. 1/1 infect for 2, but it's an artifact.
And he gets bigger when you block it.
Sweet.
That's the thing. So he's scary to block. How about an Illusionary Ambusher?
I think another original. So it's got flash, and when it takes damage, you draw a card for each damage that it took. So 5 mana, flash him in, chump block something big without trample, and draw a bunch of cards.
How about Loaming Shaman?
Loaming Shaman is the second of the 3 graveyard getter backers. Enters the battlefield. 3 power. Enters the battlefield. Shuffle a card from graveyard.
Any number of cards from graveyard to library.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And it's target player. So you play them, and you either nuke someone's graveyard by making them shuffle it back into their library, or pick cards from your graveyard that you want back in your library to tutor for them.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
How about Lore Scale Codal? This is a flex spot. Let's just move on. How about Mull Drifter?
Probably another flex spot, but I love the card draw and the flexibility that Evoke gives you. 2 power, flying fish. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and costs 5, but you could evoke it for 2, and that's still casting it, so you'd still get the experience counter trigger off it when you cast it for its evoke cost of 3 mana. You just sacrifice it as soon as it enters the battlefield.
The experience counter comes in whenever a creature enters play. You don't have to play it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, okay.
How about Necropede?
1 mana infector for 2 mana.
1 power.
1 power infector for 2 mana.
There we go. How about Noble Quarry?
Ah, this is a little tricksy spot. 1 power. All creatures able to block it do so. And it actually has bestow. So you can either cast it for its regular cost of green and 2, or you can bestow it onto creature. It enters the battlefield as an enchant creature, and all creatures have to block the enchanted creature.
And then when the enchanted creature dies, Noble Quarry comes into play.
So you can do that again.
Yes, very cool. Costs 6 to do that.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
But I mean, if 6 lets you kill somebody, and then the creature gets gang blocked and dies, that 6 would let you kill another person because they have to block Noble Quarry again.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
How about Phyrexian Digester, sorry.
2 power, infector for 3 mana.
Phyrexian Swarmlord.
Swarmlord. Green 4, infector for a 4/4. Lots of 4s there. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 green insect creature token with infect onto the battlefield for each poison counter your opponents have.
Yeah.
So you can get a boatload of infecting insects.
And experience counters.
That is a mighty card in this deck.
That is a house. How about Plague Mirror?
CCO staple, 1/1 for 2, infect, taps to add a colorless. Love it.
How about a Plax Manta?
Plax Manta. Original, 2 power, Flasher for 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain Shroud until end of turn. It gives you guys Shroud, so it shuts off like things that target your guys. So you flash it in when someone goes to Path your Ezuri or whatever, right?
We could probably replace them with something better.
I should say it only gives your creatures Shroud. I should say too, when Plax Manta enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless green was spent to play it. So it costs blue 1, and if that 1 is not green, you have to sack it. Fine, whatever. If the green was paid, then you keep it. It's kind of like a counterspell, but on a creature, and it gives you an experience counter.
It's not terrible. How about Prime Speaker Zagana?
Oh, yeah. 1/1. So she's going to trigger Ezuri, but she costs 6. So what? Green.
Not just 6, Ryan. It's green, blue, blue, 2.
yeah, green, blue, 2. Merfolk Wizard. Prime Speakers are going to enter the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on her. Oh, no, she enters the battlefield with X +1/+1, so she might not trigger Ezuri, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Okay, so your biggest guy makes her your biggest guy. And when she enters the battlefield, draw a card equal to her power.
She's pretty good. We might be able to replace her with something a little bit less top-heavy.
You know what? I tried to not have top-heavy cards in here because Infect needs to race people or else you're going to get killed. So maybe cut all the 6 drops, except for Phyrexian Swarmlord.
How about Rotwolf?
2 power, Infector.
Sakura Tribe Elder.
That's a mana dork, sack him to get a basic.
Skullwinder.
That's a Death Toucher. I thought that had Infect. Flexbot.
Spinebiter.
Sweet name. 6 drop, 3/4 Infector. So, I don't know. It's got Infect, but it doesn't trigger Ezuri, and it costs 6.
It also has, you can have it deal combat damage to players if it wasn't blocked.
That's like super trample.
Yes, that's pretty good.
So I guess if you Ezuri him, like he's the top of your curve, you Ezuri him, so what's he going to get? +3 or 4? Let's say he gets +4/+4 when he attacks. So he's attacking for 7, then you cast like a Giant Growth, and you can have him deal his combat damages if he doesn't block.
That's the inevitability be like.
6 mana win the game. I just talked about how that was good on Noble Quarry. Moving on.
Yeah. Stinger Fling Spider.
Another Reacher without Infect. 2 power, so he's going to trigger when it enters the battlefield, destroy a creature with flying. So it's a removal spell.
Or a flex spot. Yeah. Tangle Angler.
1 power, Infector.
Thrumming Bird.
1 power, Proliferator. We're going to call that an Infector.
Trigon Predator.
2 power, deals combat damage, destroy target artifact or enchantment.
He's just good.
In blue-green. Yeah, blue-green 1 for a 2/3 flyer. Yeah, I like Trigon Predator.
I don't like the new art. I like the old art way better.
I like how they made it kind of like the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
It just looks too much like a dragon for me. Not that I just like dragons or whatever, but it just, the other one was like some kind of weird flying manta. It was way more Simic than this.
Oh, yeah, flying manta thing with no neck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
Simic
like my
is all
cousin
about...
Dave with no neck.
Simic's all about those creatures that come out of like a vat and they're all weird looking.
I'm from Simic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a dragon. It
just hurts because I don't have the right body parts in the right places.
How about a Vidalcan Anatomist?
What the hell is that? That is a 1 power for 3. You go blue 2 and tap it. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. You may tap or untap that creature.
I feel like that rhymes with Mex Slot.
Yes.
Yeah, baby.
Why would I want to untap a creature? Why did I put that in there? There's got to be a reason.
Well, maybe we'll come across it later on. How about Viral Drake?
1 power, Infector. And it has blue 3 Proliferate.
Very important.
So yeah, if you got lots of mana, you just kill somebody that has an Infect counter on them.
How about Viridian Corruptor?
When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact. 2 power, Infect, all on a 3 casting cost body. Sweet.
How about a Viridian Shaman?
Oh, Viridian Infector person's stupid sister. Enters the battlefield, destroy an artifact for 3 mana.
And Wistful Selkie.
When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. I like that one better.
That's much better. That's our creature suite.
And all of those last 3 creatures would trigger Ezuri because they all have 2 power. Sweet.
Correct. So we got 41 creatures if you include Ezuri.
Yeah, and like
lots.
20 Infectors. 25 Infectors or something.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I like that. So we're going to move on to some instants. How about instants? Want to do instants?
I like the instants in this deck.
Okay, there are 10 of them, starting with Become Immense.
Here's the Delve card I talked about. So it costs green 5, and it's got Delve. And each card you exile from your graveyard pays for one of the generic costs. So really it costs green, and it gives +6/+6.
Till end of turn. Very good. How about Berserk?
Green, I'm noticing a trend. Green, double target creature's power, and then destroy it at end of combat or whatever.
That's a quasi money include. Also.
Yeah, I think Berserk's.
It's a few bucks.
Yeah, it's like $15 or something. Again, kind of close to the top end of what we would expect, but not so outrageously overpriced that we would never see it reprinted, right?
It'd be pictured on the back of the packaging as an incentive for you to buy the deck.
Oh yeah, I think so.
It's a good card. How about Bioshift?
Simic Hybrid, so green or blue. Move any number of +1 counters from target creature onto another target creature.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it lets you Ezuri somebody and then Ezuri somebody else, all with the same counters. Yay!
Yay! How about Carrion Call or Carrion Call?
Carrion Call. 4 mana, put 2 Infectors into play that are 1/1s. So they would both trigger Ezuri as well.
Get 2 experience counters. How about Cobra Trap?
Cobra Trap was an original. Could be a flex spot, but if a non-creature permanent under your control was destroyed this turn by a spell or ability an opponent controls, you can pay green instead of green 4. What the hell? And when you cast it, put 4 1/1 green snake tokens onto the battlefield.
I suppose now is a good time to say that the original Ezuri deck had kind of a snake sub-theme.
Yeah, and a token sub-theme. Like there was a Collar of the Claw and stuff that just like put lots of 1/1 and 2/2 tokens into play just to trigger Ezuri, right?
Yeah.
You'd need to trigger them so many times with that token strategy, though. If you play Infect, you need to trigger them like a couple times and then cast a pump spell, and then you're good.
Yeah. Next up, we got Grip.
Corrosive Grip. 3 mana, destroy artifact or enchantment, split second.
Rapid Hybridization.
Destroy target creature, they get a frog lizard.
Snake Form.
3 mana, turn something into a 1/1 snake and draw a card. I always forget that there's a draw card on there, hey?
It's a good card.
Yeah, I like that one.
Solid card. How about Summoner's Pact?
Summoner's Pact is our first tutor. It's an instant, too. That's super cool. Search your library for a green creature, reveal it, put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. At the beginning of your next upkeep, pay green 2. If you don't, lose the game.
What?
Converted mana cost, 0. So what do you search for? Crater Hoof.
Yeah.
That's what you search for, right? And you've got your graveyard getter backers in case Crater Hoof died, got discarded, got milled, what have you. You got your Loaming Shaman, so you can search, like shuffle it back into your library and tutor for it. And you got your Eternal Witness, so you can get it back if you've already searched for it once and you need to kill another player.
I dig it.
Yeah.
All right. Last instant. Synthetic Destiny.
Wow. Okay. This was an original. And I think this was actually a Commander 2015 first time ever printing. So blue 4 for an instant. Exile all creatures you control. At the beginning of the next end step, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal that many creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your library.
We could probably cut that.
It's like mass polymorph.
Sort of.
And it was originally in there because remember there was a token sub-theme, and if you had a bunch of tokens, you could exile all of them and get real cards for them. We could still kind of do that with...
It puts you on a turn... Important in this deck is once your guys are online, you want to keep them there. You never want to... In this card's case, you're going to swap all your Infectors out for other Infectors, and none of them are going to have haste. So that's another turn where you have to hope nobody wraths you or removes all your stuff.
I guess so. It is instant speed, so you could do it at the end of somebody's turn, or you could do it like to polymorph in a bunch of blockers.
Or save yourself from a wrath, I guess.
Save yourself. Well, the thing would resolve, and then all the creatures come into play, and the wrath would happen anyways.
At the beginning of your next up. The beginning of the next end step. So they would wrath. It's kind of like Teferi's Protection.
Okay, yeah.
Ish.
The other thing I like about it still in this deck is there are some creatures that are not Infectors, right? So you could, if you have a bunch of them out and maybe one Infector, you could Synthetic Destiny all of those non-infectors away, including your tokens, and then everything that comes back into play probably is going to have infect.
Yeah, helpful.
So I think it's a cool card, and it was a Commander 15 original, so it is still in there.
All right, let's move on to some sorceries.
5 sorceries, 1 original.
Let's just start with this one. I'm sure this one came in the pre-con. I'm sure it did.
Yeah, it's not this one.
Natural Order.
Natural Order, again, top end of what you would expect to see. Wizards doesn't super like putting tutors into their decks, but this one finds you a Crater Hoof.
Yeah, it does.
So it's green 2 as an additional cost, sack a green creature, search your library for a green creature, and put it onto the battlefield. So you dust one of your little crappy tokens or little infectors, and you get a giant Crater Hoof.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
How about Overrun?
Green 2, all creatures get +3/+3, and trample.
Rampant Growth.
That finds you a land for 2 mana.
Triumph of the Hordes.
That is Infect Overrun. So gives creatures +1/+1, trample, and infect.
How about Verdant Confluence?
Commander original, green 4, choose 3. You can choose the same mode more than once.
I like that.
Yeah, so the first one is put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature.
Very good.
Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand.
Also very good.
Gets your Crater Hoof. Search your library for a basic land card, put that onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library.
You already got 6. Don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like put 2 +1s 3 times. So 6 mana, get +6/+6.
Very good. Yeah, I dig it. I'm a fan of that. Or if you're really hurting, you could get 2 land and put your Crater Hoof back into your hand. Could put you at 8 so you can play them.
Not terrible.
Nope, not
I
the worst.
certainly wish that was an instant. That would be so sick.
All right, keep on moving. We are going into the enchantment section. There's 1.
1 enchantment, and I believe this was a Ezuri original Beastmaster Ascension.
If it wasn't in the original list, that's Wizards dropping the ball hard.
That's them dropping the ball harder than 28. No, it's not.
No, it's not. No, it is. It is. It really
it's
is.
It's not.
It totally is. This is an auto include in any token strategy that runs green.
I pretty much agree.
And it costs like $4. Enchantment for green 2. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets a quest counter. If it has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5.
Super good.
It's unreal and infect.
So I think how one would do a Beastmaster Ascension is you amass a board of how many quest counters? 7? 7 creatures. And then first main phase, Beastmaster Ascension, swing with everything, so it automatically gets 7 quest counters, and your guys automatically get +5 when you attack.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And usually that'll either kill somebody or outright win you the game. Or Jesse will counter it, freeing up space for you to drop the Crater Hoof Behemoth and just make sure you win the game.
It's funny that just happened, and you can do that in this deck.
Yes.
It's funny that's what green does, right? I think that in an infect deck, that +5/+5 is functionally akin to +20/+20.
Now think about that. +20/+20. And there's no coming back from it either.
There's no coming back from. Yeah, because you can't gain life in infect. You can't uninfect. Somebody could uninfect their opponent with that new take counters off guy.
Who's going to do that? Nobody's going to do that.
Nobody's going to do that.
0 people are going to do that. Let's move on to the artifacts.
Sure.
Now it says there's 5 of them, but one of them says it's Swiftwater Cliffs, and that's definitely not an artifact.
Yeah, we have to scratch our heads at tapped out sometimes. So
that's a little strange. So there's 4 of them. And we're going to start with Bident of Thassa.
4 mana. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So it gives all your creatures Ophidian, and also blue 1 tap. Creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. Now, you would use that ability, and as long as you do the math and you're not going to die when they swing at you with everything for making them attack, you just let it all through so you can Alpha Strike them with Infect next turn and kill them. Super sweet. Moving on.
Not a terrible idea. Simic Signet.
That's the green-blue Signet for 2 mana.
Sol Ring.
That's the 1 mana tap for 2 Sol Ring.
Thought Vessel.
Thought Vessel, Commander 15 original, and like $8 now because they've never been reprinted.
Of course.
2 mana, taps to add a colorless, and it gives you no maximum hand size.
Ooh.
Neat. I like those, actually.
Did we do anything cool with the land?
I
base?
added an Alchemist Refuge, which gives non-land cards this turn can have flash. You can cast stuff at flash speed.
It's pretty good.
And I added an Ink Moth Nexus, and it's like $17. We talked about that briefly.
Yep.
And then everything else was, I think, stock mana base. Now, this deck came with like 40 lands out of the box. Oh, and I added a Rogue's Passage, so you could make an Infector unblockable once you pump it.
Everybody knew that as soon as we said lands, but let's just reiterate it, because based on the story we told earlier, they might think we're bad now, and we're not.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the deck out of the box had 40 lands in it, and I think that's too much. And the mana curve is pretty low. All the Infectors are cheap, and I think there's like 38 lands in it now. I want to cut like 4 lands.
Yeah, you could cut 2 or 3 more lands easy.
We talked about having 4 or 5 flex spots, like stuff that doesn't have infect and maybe is too expensive. And then we cut a bunch of lands, so our average converted mana cost super low, and it's all just straight gas and pump spells. That's what I want, right? But that wouldn't be very Commander product pre-con, so I didn't do that.
Good call.
Real quick, that Swiftwater Cliffs should be a Swiftfoot Boots.
That explains why it's in the artifact section. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Moving on. We want to give a little bit of an outline of how the deck plays, right? When we talk about buying precons and tweaking them, if we go back to last week's Deck Building 101, right? But we both were talking off air and think that this particular deck doesn't play like it should play.
No.
Infect, like we said at the top of the show, kills one person, and then everybody gang beats you, stomps your dink into the ground.
And the thing with Infectors is they're small. Infectors, they're high cost and they're small creatures.
Yeah.
Ezuri kind of makes up for that, but in general, the creatures aren't really that scary unless they're attacking you and they're not blocking. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and here's the thing. They're small. When they hit a player, it's like their power is quadrupled, right? Because you only need 10 infect. When they block or when they become blocked, they're how big they are.
They're 1/1s.
Yeah.
And
it's a 4/1 when it's attacking, and it's a 1/1 when it's being blocked.
the odds are my 6-drop is probably going to destroy your 6-drop, and then it's going to survive, and then it's going to destroy you.
Yeah.
It's probably how that works.
So, remember, Infectors deal damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters, so your 6-drop 6/6 next time, like if it blocks my 6-drop 3/3 Infect, yours will be a 3/3, but it will still eat my next Infect because my next best Infect is like a 2/2, right? So, unless I got pump spells, which I think is where we would tweak this deck even more. You'd make it lower to the ground. Let's see what your includes are, and then I want to touch on some of the non-budget options that'll make this deck hum a little bit more.
Now, my thing is, unless you're going hyper-competitive, because I was still trying to keep it into the things that you would see in a pre-con list.
Okay.
So a little bit less competitive, because competitive equals pump spell. That's turn 3 infect die. That's what that is.
Yeah.
One person. Now I'm thinking you got to kill, let's say, 4 people.
Sure.
How do you kill 4 people with infect? Here's how you do it. Blade of Selves.
That is Myriad
Yeah.
on an equipment.
Correct. So
And Myriad is it copies the creature for everybody that it could attack.
it gives you that inevitability, that constant pounding of something that your opponents have to deal with.
Was Blade of Selves in this stock list? I don't think that it was.
I don't think it was.
I think it was in the shitty Boros one.
Yeah.
Man, we should have done that deck. That one sucks.
It was too terrible, though.
Maybe
This one,
we'll
at
do
least
that. We had a
could do
listener
something fun.
submission asking that we do that deck, actually.
Oh, damn it.
I don't want to do that deck, but I think that we owe it to CCO Nation to wear that deck better than Wizards.
Yeah, we probably can do it.
Okay.
I'm also thinking something kind of, it's a little janky, but it's good. And again, since the creatures deal damage in -1/-1 counters, Dolmen Gate
Dolmen Gate.
is an artifact for 2, gives all your attacking creatures first strike. They're not going to trade, but it's going to possibly...
First strike is a deterrent to block, I guess, right?
Yeah, or if they're attacking you, you can... I guess you can't first strike their guys then. But Dolmen Gate's a cool thing. Any deck that you're attacking in, it's good in Goblins because they're low to the ground. It's good in Infect because they're low to the ground.
Yeah, I agree. Any aggro deck likes Dolmen Gate.
We could add a second, that Unicorn that makes things block everything, and add Lure.
Lure or Taunting Elf.
Yes.
Yep.
Both of those things would be good.
I
more
like
lure
Taunting
effects.
Elf better, actually, because it'll trigger Ezuri.
Also good.
Yeah. It's a 0/1, right?
Yeah.
0 is less than 2.
Another card I dig. I asked you about this when you first said that you had built it before I looked at the list. Inexorable Tide. Blue 3.
Inexorable.
Inexorable Tide.
I've been practicing.
Whenever you cast a spell, proliferate.
Yes.
That's your late game. Holy shit, what do I do?
That's
card.
your big top end, right?
Yep, that's the one that you want to have.
That gives you inevitability with 2 of the cards that I'm going to hit on.
There we go. I mean, as long as you've... Because, I mean, with Infect, people hate you. And you're going to get beat down. Your creatures aren't going to survive for very long. But if you've snuck that one attacker through on everybody, possibly with a Blade of Selves, you got 1 poison counter on everybody, that Inexorable Tide is going to kill your opponents as you struggle to stay alive through their attacks.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is cast 9 things and you win.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I like that card. We got a Primal Rage.
Primal Rage is...
Green 1 enchantment. All your creatures have trample.
Yep.
Trample and Infect's very
good.
good.
That's not a pump spell.
It's not a pump spell, but with Ezuri.
What's the... Instead of giving it trample, what if... what is it? Soul's Might? It's like green 4... Put X +1 counters on a creature where X is the creature's power.
Yeah.
Essentially, that doubles its power. It's like fair Berserk, right? It's sorcery speed and costs 5 times as much.
500% more mana.
Yeah. Soul's Might
wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, especially after you do like Become Immense. So you've got your 2/2. You give it a bunch of +1s from Ezuri, so now it's a 6/6. Then you become Immense it, so it's a 12/12, and then you Soul's Might it, so it becomes a 24/24.
I dig it.
Seems redundant with Infect.
Yes.
But that's the kind of stacking that you want in a deck like this, right?
Sometimes you need that redundancy.
So you can one-shot somebody with Trample. They gang block it, but it's got 26 whatever power, so it'll trample over literally everything.
Yeah, get some.
Yeah.
I like
that. So
that.
you can gang block my one dude, and it'll still be, after they become Immense wears off, it'll still be like a 18/18 next turn to do it again to somebody else.
My last card I want to suggest, and this is Brando staple. Talked about it lots of times on the show. I can't believe it's not in here. Corrupted Conscience.
Oh, that's actually one of my suggestions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blue 3. You gain control of target creature. It has Infect now.
Yeah, very much so. One of the tutor spots, because Corrupted Conscience is like $1, and the tutors are, $10, $15. If you wanted to spend 5 mana on something big, just steal your opponent's biggest thing and give it Infect. It plays right into your strategy. It gets rid of blockers. It's Infect. It's good. It's
their
sweet.
biggest, scariest blocker goes away. You get a big, scary Infector. It does everything that you want to do.
Yeah, so, okay, post-Wrath, and you've got a bunch of mana because it's late in the game. Post-Wrath, somebody plays whatever, a Worm Coil Engine.
Let's make it totally ridiculous. Inferno Titan. Because infecting Inferno Titan is awesome. Because he does 9.
Yeah, he does. But it doesn't need to be. It can literally be whatever 5 or 6 drop after a Wrath. You go play Ezuri again. Okay, so that's 6. And then Corrupted Conscience. Steal their only blocker, because it's just after a Wrath. And then swing with it.
I just thought of
Is that the play? Because Ezuri will pump that guy and...
yeah.
It doesn't even need to be the same turn. You Corrupted Conscience, right? And then it doesn't have haste, so you can't attack with it right away. But next turn, you play Ezuri, so you could do it on 5 mana.
Yeah. Why is there no, grafted exoskeleton? +2/+2 and Infect?
Yeah.
Why isn't that in here?
I thought about it, and it could go in, but there wasn't a whole bunch of non-infectors just to give something Infect. Like it's 4 to cast, 2 to equip, or vice versa, right? It's like 6 mana all in before your guy gets Infect. And I figured everything kind of already has Infect, right? So
it's kind of redundant, but you could get Ezuri with it, so you can go general damage and Infect, or if you're going to play the list as it is on Tapped Out, now you're Experiment 1, which could maybe be real big.
Yeah.
It's got that Infect.
I suppose.
You could win with an Elvish Visionary now.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Like that's just going to hurt feelings. Yep. Die to my Elvish Visionary. Die to my Taunting Elf.
I was going to say not directly, but Animar wins with Elvish Visionary all the time because you just blink it until you draw your deck. Sure. Okay. No, you know what I liked in this deck is I think the number one include that needs to be in this deck is a Sylvan Library.
Yeah, not on the budget for this arc, but you're right.
It would be on the budget if in 2012 you bought the Commander product. The Commander's Arsenal came with a foil one. So if you just buy the Commander product every year and that's like your magic splurge purchase, then you have a Sylvan Library.
That's foil.
Yeah. So Sylvan Library, green enchantment, it costs green 1. Essentially, you draw 2 extra cards, and for each one of those 2 cards you do not put back, you take 4 damage.
Ooh.
Right? So you essentially draw 3 cards a turn and take 8. And in this deck, when you're looking for pump spells that stack, you've got your Become Immense, your Soul's Might, your Berserk, your Invigorate that you can cast for free, Giant Growth for like whatever. Who cares? Play Giant Growth if that's what you have. You spent all your money on a Sylvan Library, play Giant Growth. And you just draw your 3 cards for the turn. You see 3 pump spells, pay 8, keep them all, chuck them at somebody, they die. Right? That's what this deck wants. For the same kind of thing, you could play Brainstorm in this deck. Right? Draw 3, put 2 from your hand back on top of your library. Draw 3 pump spells, put back 2 land that you don't need. Pump, 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 kill somebody. That's what this deck wants, right? Is it budget to play things like Sensei's Divining Top so you can see 3 cards deep? Is it budget to play Sylvan Library?
No.
Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
But that's what this deck wants.
That's what the deck wants to do, just not what we're doing in the confines of what we're talking about in the arc here. You know what you could play? Distortion Strike. That'll be fun. It's like what, blue? Is it just blue? Target creature gets +1/+0.
And unblockable.
And it has rebound, so you get to do it the next turn.
Yeah, super sweet.
So that'd be a good one,
That's a good include. Good pump spell. Yeah. Yep. And with Ezuri's ability, you only need to maybe cast it. Like you can kill somebody with it the first time, kill somebody with it the second time, right? Yeah, popular in blue Voltron builds because you make your commander unblockable.
Twice.
Yeah. Goes in Lord of Tressorhorn.
Probably goes in Rafiki of the Lots, too.
Nice. Okay, well, strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Fast. Low to the ground. Budget enough to be considered precon level. Okay. And attacks your opponents on an axis they cannot recover from. Not on an axis they can't interact with, because essentially you're still just attacking. But like you said earlier, you can't get infected.
Yeah,
right?
Nobody's going to help you.
It's not like gaining life back once you take a bunch of damage.
Yeah, you can't morality shift to get your graveyard back. You can't do any of that stuff. You got poison counters now.
Yeah, unless somebody's playing leeches or that thing that removes opponents' counters.
And nobody's doing that.
Yeah. They would maybe remove our experience counters.
Yeah, of course they would.
Yeah.
But not the poison counters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if aggro decks are your thing, if you want to try infect, if you want everybody to hate you, play this deck. I guess that leads to a weakness. Everybody's going to hate you. It does have the aggro problem, which it runs out of gas at the top end. It runs lean at the top end.
That's why you need that inexorable tide. Because
Yeah.
you got to hope that you had that explosive out. If you play cats, this is the same thing. You're going to run out of gas after that turn 4, turn 5. You're super powerful 1/2. Doesn't mean shit.
That blighted drake or whatever it is that has blue 3 proliferate. Your thrumming bird, when it attacks, it proliferates. You could do Contagion Clasp and Contagion Engine.
Yep.
Contagion Engine is a 6-drop pseudo board wrath that proliferates. So that'll give you a lot of reach as well.
I didn't include those in my thing just because it was like, I don't want to go all the way into Dirtbag Town. But
Yeah. And then I said this particular list runs into the precon problem in that you can't put a lot of really expensive and difficult to play things like Sylvan Library and Brainstorm and any interaction, right? Like you're playing blue-based, low-to-the-ground strategies, you're going to be interacted with because you're playing Infect. This deck feels like, in addition to the zero-cost tutor, you want zero-cost counters as well, right?
yeah, you want your...
Pact of Negation. You know what? I think you start with Swan Song because it's 1-drop counterspell. Then you move to Pact of Negation, Force of Will, and Mana Drain eventually. Because essentially those all are free or net you mana. But it's moving out of precon and into the advanced kind of competitive deck.
Yeah, into the I have a whole bunch of money or I've been playing since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Card of the week?
Card of the week. Question mark?
I remembered this time. What did we say? Phyrexian Swarmlord?
I think Phyrexian Swarmlord. It's a little bit narrow, But it's so cool, and I've wanted to talk about it for a long time. So let's just read it again, and it's got a cool art on it.
It's kind of a weird art. His arm thingies look like they're the wrong size or something.
It kind of looks like one of the new Phyrexian forests also. There's a forest that looks just like it, and they just plunked this weird little insect guy in the middle of it.
He's like, I'm a tree. Ah, just kidding. And he karate chops you with those insect arm things.
His blade arms. But he's a 4/4 for green 4 with Infect. Insect Horror. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 green insect creature token with Infect onto the battlefield for each poison counter your opponents have.
Your opponents have. So
Correct.
everybody's got 4 or 5 Infect on them because you've myriaded them.
Very good.
You're going to get 10. I don't know. You can't get 10. Whatever. 12.
And he costs a mere 13 Canadian dollars.
Or 1 freedom dollar.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So he's a cool card. I mean, again, he's kind of narrow in that you sort of want to play him in an Infect deck. But in theory, I suppose, he does trigger himself. If you swing in with him once.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He does give you 4 insects with Infect every turn if you can keep him around for a little while. But he's a cool card. I dig him.
Yep. I think I'm going to build an Infect deck now.
Are you going to put in Phyrexian Swarm in there?
Hells yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Milk list?
Everybody loves the milk list.
Okay, the milk list, as per edhrec.com, is the most popular, most commonly played cards in each color combination. Today, Simic, or green-blue. Okay, at the 0-drop slot in Simic, most popular card, as per edhrec.com, Everflowing Chalice.
No.
Not in here.
No, not at all.
But charge counters could be proliferated. I think it comes into play with charge counters, doesn't it?
It comes in with some kind of counter. Why doesn't everyone play the Cornucopia, the XXX one? Taps for colors. Why does nobody play that?
Because it costs 3 to give you 1. I guess 3 to give you 1 is the exchange rate on any colored of mana rocks.
That's what it costs. Yeah. Why don't everyone play that? And if you play Proliferate in a deck, you just every turn you proliferate it, and it exponentially becomes better.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why does nobody play that?
Because F that card. And right. F Everflowing Chalice. I don't know anybody who plays this card. I don't know anybody who pays less mana for the same thing.
Yeah.
CCO Nation, get at us on Twitter if you play Everflowing Chalice, I guess. Anyways, 1-drop slot. Soul Ring, we're playing it, of course. Cyclonic Rift. While it was in the Commander 2014 precons, it's now $20, and I didn't want to push the envelope with the overall cost of the deck.
Fair enough.
100% goes in there if you have it, though, because it's the best blue card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eternal Witness at 3.
Yepers.
Absolutely. Mystic Snake was in there, but now isn't.
Yeah, F that guy.
Yeah, no, we're playing Plax Manta instead.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Acidic Slime.
Nope.
At 5.
Don't have him.
Prime Speaker Zagon at 6.
Yeah, she's in there.
Yeah. Avengers Zendikar 7.
Nope.
Big Daddy Buttsex Terastodon at 8.
No.
Nope.
Haven't played him in a while.
Artisan Kozilek at 9.
Nope.
Jin-Gitaxias, that dick, at 10.
Nope.
Ulamog Infinite Gyre at 11.
Nope.
Enter the Infinite at 12. Huh.
Nope.
Emrakul the Promised End at 13.
Nah.
Dinkmouth Infusion at 14.
Never.
Someday
we'll have it.
Emrakul the Eon's Torn at 15.
Nah.
3 Milk List matches.
It's pretty good.
Sounds like it's going to be a spicy brew.
Does.
I don't know if it is, though. Moving on. Spice Calculator. So, at the time of the recording, there's 1,908 Ezuri lists on edhrec.com.
Fairly far and away the most popular Simic commander.
Yeah, the next one is Crewfix, which is also a super cool deck, but Azuri's got 600 more lists.
Yeah.
So
okay. We talked about that a little bit, possibly pre-con effect. Ezuri was very, very popular as a pre-con, and lots of people just tweak one card and upload their list onto Tapped Out.
Yeah, I've talked to Don Miner about that a couple times. Literally, they upload the list as soon as they tune 1 or 2 cards in or out, and it's 99% of the deck or 95% of the deck is the exact stock list that you buy from wherever that you get it from, right? So we changed a lot, but we still actually have 33. We changed it a lot to do the Infect build, but our uniqueness rating is still only 33.
Ooh.
Because, it's playing Soul Ring, it's playing Swiftfoot Boots, it's playing Simic Signet, right? So average converted mana cost of the deck, 3.32.
It's all right.
Yeah, it could be lower. This deck probably wants it to be 2.5 or 3 flat, right? And that you would get that with your pump spells and cheaper draw effects and stuff, right? Critical turn, 4, if you get Ezuri on 3 or 4, and then you have a pump spell, and you can start killing people like on turn 4.
You got an Infector by the time you get Ezuri, start swinging.
Yeah. Optimal game size, 4. I don't think you want to take on anybody else in like one of those 5 or 6 player games that we're kind of known for doing.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want unless you're playing, like I said, the Inexorable Tide or the Myriad Sword.
Yeah, top end Infect, I think.
Yeah,
right?
You got to have that high end, or you're just going to you're going to kill one person and they're going to be all pissed off, or you're going to try and kill somebody and it's not going to work, and then you're just going to eat shit for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because you
play
got
drink
nothing.
the drink.
Yeah.
And not magic.
Yeah, you might put a card on the table and they would just like slap you and fucking shuffle all your cards onto the floor. Just get that crap out of here.
Yeah. Infect, get out of my house.
Exactly.
Yeah, you only play Infect when you're at your own house.
And even then you have to sit out in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the rain by yourself. It's terrible.
Yep. Double sleeve your cards, kids. Uniqueness rating. Cards different than the EDH Rec stock list. 33. 2 tutors. Now, Spice calculator lets us have 1 tutor with no penalties. We got 2. Punch it all in. Beep, boop, 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 boop. 38 spicy.
Ooh.
If we had 1 tutor, we would go up to 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
good.
you see how much 1 tutor can affect it, right? If you have 1 tutor, okay, you just randomly draw it. Fine. If you have 2 tutors, you have twice as much probability of randomly drawing it, and the tutor always finds the same thing. It always finds a crater hoof. So when you have twice as high of a probability to draw your crater hoof, or 3 times, because you got crater hoof and 2 tutors, it's like it's doing the same thing every time with these tutors.
You could also just cut the crater hoof too. That was on my little notes. I would honestly cut the crater hoof.
I suppose. And you know what? It's like $20.
And the reason I would cut it is not because it's a bad card or whatever, because it's super good. But in a bubble, it's amazing in this deck. But in real life, when you're playing Infect, your guys die all the time. You're gonna have 1 creature, so you're gonna drop that crater hoof, and all your creatures are gonna get +1/+1 or +2/+2.
Yeah.
And it's
do you replace the crater hoof with another like power doubling pump spell, something to give trample?
I replaced it with Blade of Selves. In my head, that's what I replaced it with.
I replaced it with Invigorate. If you control a forest, you can have somebody gain 4 life and not pay any mana to give your guy +4/+4.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
You could play that too. Both of the things kind of do the same sort of thing. I was pushing for inevitability. You were pushing for kill somebody right away.
Yeah. It's kind of like I just want to get it all out of the way right now.
Yep. Just want to get this over with.
Yep.
Let's just go on to game 2.
Jesse, you're taking 10. But it's turn 5. I'm going to sit it. Yeah, you're taking 10 this turn. He's taking 10 next turn. He's taking 10 next turn. That's in my head. That's the plan. But like you say, your guy dies. So you need some inevitability.
In real life, you're going to kill Jesse, and then we're going to high five, because F you, Jesse.
Yes.
And then Smitty is going to play some kind of jank removal spell on it, and it's going to be terrible. Then you're just eating shit for the rest of the game.
Yeah, but at least Jesse's dead.
That's right.
Okay.
Count that as a win.
Absolutely. Okay, that's the deck. Final thoughts of the day?
Final thoughts of the day. Remember our C18 giveaway. You can check out all the details on our Facebook page, Commander Cookout on Facebook, or you can check out Twitter or Podomatic or CommanderCookout.com, and all of the details are on there, so you can win your very own pre-constructed C18 deck, maybe some other goodies that we throw in. We like to do that sometimes, and get at us on that. Also, remember to get at us on Twitter or CommanderCookout@gmail.com if you have any decks that you'd like to see us rebuild for this arc. As far as this deck goes, I think it's very, very cool. I was actually thinking I was going to do this one, and then Ryan jacked it from me because he's a bad friend. But I think he did a great job of it, and did basically what I was going to do anyway, where you take something that is, we took the very core of the deck, which is low to the ground guys that get really big, and how good can your little creatures be if they were big? That's what Ezuri was asking you. And then Wizards answered by saying, look, you can have this one guy that can become a 20/20 and swing for whatever. And then we just went the extra mile and said, yeah, well, we could just make it a 10-10 and win the game, because we're CCO and we're good that way. So, also, if you want to get entered into the contest, I just thought of this right now, and Ryan's listening very intently so he knows that this is going to count. CCO Podcast on Twitter. Get at us. Hashtag who wore it better, CCO or WotC, on the Ezuri list. Do you like low to the ground but big wide tokens with one big beater in the middle? Or do you like low to the ground infectors with one big beater in the middle that just wins the game for you?
Yeah.
Get at us. Let us know. We'll be back with the results on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song!